Hello, everybody. This is Tanya Barbie. I am still a rose in spite of all that drama, day in, day out, year after year, vicious cycle after vicious cycle. I got sense enough to know I'm still a rose, and so are you. I'd like to talk tonight about bullying. But first, I want to thank God that I don't have that dreadful lung disease, emphysema. Thank God. I was hospitalized a week ago. They thought I had heart issues. Um, that was ruled out. And then they sent me to another doctor because he thought I had lung issues. And thank God, as of 2 hours ago, that was ruled out. So they don't know what's going on with the chest, but thank God it's not the heart or the lungs. So I'm grateful for that. And I just want to say I'm grateful. Um, I'm just grateful. Well, sorry I'm late. Had a few errands to run, lots going on. And I just wanted to talk to you all tonight. My heart goes out to children that are being bullied. We as parents have a major responsibility to talk to our children, to see what's going on with them. And most importantly, if a child is being bullied, she or he is being bullied by another kid at school. So that kid has to belong to one of us. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Ray. Thanks for joining tonight. I just saw you. Thank you. Thank you, Bat, for joining. Tammy, good to see you again. Y'all made me lose my thought. Thank you for joining. That means a lot. Okay, this young child that I want to talk about tonight, she's from the Bronx. And unfortunately, she got up on the top of her apartment complex with her backpack on her back and jumped. She jumped. This young girl has been bullied for 5 months and sexually assaulted. On the day of her death, she was sexually assaulted, and the administrators ignored her. Of course, the parents are gonna file a lawsuit, but it doesn't bring the baby girl back. Now, she was only in the 9th grade. Her father had no clue. She went to school. He thought she was a happy girl, and she was excited about going to school that day. But she had some issues. And she wasn't sharing that with her parents. She would report it to the school, but the school wasn't doing anything about it, allegedly. They were ignoring it, or as some people do, sweep it under the rug. First, my concern is, who raises a child that is so evil that they are molesting or they are teasing to the extent that it is pushing someone to death, that they don't want to live anymore? These children come from our bodies. So we have to ask ourselves, what are we not doing? What are we missing? And I had to look back and I had to really think hard. Can a mom or dad miss their child being disruptive, being evil in the classroom? Can they really not know? And it occurred to me that that's a strong possibility if they're busy and they're working so many hours, they're never home. They're so engaged at work that when they come home, they're disengaged, even with their children. Is it possible they don't know God? Is it possible their children don't go to church, don't have a relationship with other kids that go to church, that don't do godly things, that don't learn about what's good and what's not, and how we're supposed to respect one another? Could it be that the parents are so disengaged, they don't know that their child is evil, that their child is bringing harm to another child, to the extent that that child wants to kill themselves, or if that child follows through, like in the case of this beautiful young lady that I just sent a post, I just posted again. She's gone. This young girl, ninth grader, is gone. And if you're on Facebook every day, you will see at least 1 to 2 suicides or bullying stories. You would see that at least twice a week. Twice a week in 7 days, you'll see 2 occurrences of a kid being bullied to their death. Last week, it was a child's braids being yanked out of the back of her head. Can you imagine the pain? Can you imagine what that child is going to be experiencing? Can you imagine the trauma that she went through? So I'm here to ask I want us to think about that, because it's our kids that are bullying, the kids that are being that are victimized. They're not doing it to themselves. And sadly, this child was sexually assaulted by boys the day that she jumped. So what are we teaching our children? That that's okay? What are we teaching our children? That it's all right to hurt somebody? What are we teaching our kids at home? That they're not ashamed of themselves, or they would be too hurt or too embarrassed, or they would never even fathom hurting another child in that way. Now, I've heard of joning. We grew up joning. I went to Blue High School, and we joned on each other. But you can't even joan nowadays, because you never know how that other person is going to receive it. My son, my oldest son, lost a friend just last week, a 34-year-old a young man that was very popular in DC, because he was joning on another man. That man allegedly shot him in the head and killed him. So this week, my son is attending his funeral. He was joning on him. So you don't know how far somebody receives what you're saying to them or what you're doing to them. And how far do you know bullying is? You don't stop. You continue to harass. You continue to push that person. It's not a Joan where you say your mama did this, or your mama smelled like this, or I bet you this, I bet you that, within 2 seconds and it's over with. Everybody laughs and you go about your business. No, bullying is you never stop. You keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing. And this person doesn't obviously know how to defend themselves. And it just gets worse, because guess what? One person starts bullying, and then it's a domino effect. Everybody in the classroom is on their, or either being a part of it, or they are being a witness to it, and they're not saying anything, and they're not defending that person. Nobody defends anybody anymore. Nobody even goes home and say, hey, mom, I don't like how they're bullying Sharon. I don't like how they're bullying John. Can you do something? Can you say something? Nobody gets involved. So how are we raising our children that they're observing this, and they don't even go home and say, Mom, why is this happening? Dad, can you do something? Or Dad, this is bothering me. This bullying's got to stop. And what I don't understand is our people are killing themselves. Years ago, my grandparents used to say Black people don't kill themselves. Yeah, everybody's killing themselves now. But for our babies to be taking their lives and know how to take their lives, they actually know how to take their lives. They're hanging themselves. They're figuring out that it's okay. They can climb, go all the way up to the top of the building and jump. Come on, y'all. And we on Facebook say, oh, that's a shame. We got to do something. We got to do something. We got to ask the administrators what penalties do they have in place for those kids that are bullying other kids? What are they doing? I also want to know what the police, what is the law doing? Because those kids that drove that young lady to her death, you don't think they should be penalized for that? Oh, because they're your child? But I'm going to tell you, if my child was that cruel and he led somebody to their death, he's got to be penalized for what he did. Yeah, they're going to have sleepless nights, but do you really think they will have sleepless nights if they continue to do this over and over and over again? Push somebody till they want to die, and they're in the 9th grade? That's 14, 15 years old. They're younger kids that I see on Facebook that have taken their lives because they have been consistently bullied. Where are the administrators? Where are the teachers? Where are the parents? And who's raising a child that's so demonic that they can lead somebody to death? That they can sit there and pick at a child. You can see the pain and the anguish in their face in the classroom. And you see somebody just pushing them and you want to laugh. You think that's funny. And all that kid that's laughing does is encourages that bully to keep doing it. And then others get in on the bandwagon. Then the next thing you know, it is a domino effect. There are 5 or 6 kids bullying that same child. And that child is being led to her death, his death. These are our children. What I'd like to request of you tonight is to talk to your kids, ask them if they see something, say something. Do your homework. See if your child is a good kid or a bad kid. Be involved. Know what's going on. Ask more questions. Learn how to engage, because a lot of our kids at age 13, how was school today? That was good. What did you do today? What made it so good? Oh, it was just good. So we have to figure out a way to engage with our kids, whether it be at McDonald's, taking a walk, whatever suits their fancy, to get them to talk to you, whether it be buying them some tennis shoes. You might have to bribe them a few times, but get some information from them, because bullying is no joke. It's taking our kids. This baby girl, this beautiful girl, was sexually assaulted the day she jumped I guess she figured her hands were full. She couldn't handle it anymore. And she probably was ashamed to tell her parents what was going on. And she probably felt she could deal with it. She felt every day when I go back, it's going to be better. She was probably a very optimistic child. I bet you she was an honor roll student too. What's wrong with our kids? That they could hurt somebody to death. Hurt somebody till they want to take their own life. I can't take it no more. I want to die. And they die. And now what I don't understand is what happens after the fact when the police go up to the schools and do the investigation. Does anybody go to jail? Is anybody held responsible? Now, why those administrators did not pick up the phone and call the mom and the dad, I don't know. Why would they take it upon themselves to dismiss it and sweep it under the rug? And it's no telling how many times this beautiful little girl went to them to say, hey, they're doing it again. Oh, go back to class. We're going to take care of it. Go back to class. You're going to be okay. Just ignore them. Why do we have to ignore everybody? Why is it we're not confrontational? Why is it we don't even teach our children, hey, this is what I want you to do. We're going to confront this situation. But they know who to pick on. These kids know the vulnerable ones. They know already at those young ages who they can pick on and who they can't pick on. I remember this funny looking girl was always pulling on my hair. Oh, look at her. She wearing a wig already. Look at her. She's so ugly. Look at her big nose. Look how tall and lanky she is. Ha, ha, ha. Everybody's laughing. And I made a decision. At 12 years old. Am I going to let this little girl keep messing with me? Or am I going to try to ignore her like my mama told me to? Or am I going to knock the hell out of her? Those are my options. And I thought about it and I thought about it. I didn't pray about it at that age. I just thought about it a lot. So I had a few sleepless nights. And she was just a real unattractive little girl. And I remember her little funny looking face like yesterday. And she would like push me. She would be behind me. That's the only bullying experience that I ever had. And I decided I was not going to let her push me anymore because all the kids would laugh. And I had this awful, dreadful accident where all this side of my face was torn. And, the skin had just peeled off. I had a really bad bike accident. So it didn't heal 100% when I went back to school. And this same girl was just picking at me, calling me Frankenstein and so forth, and just being mean. And I did my best to ignore her. But that one day I said, I'm done. I'm done. I don't care if I get suspended. I don't care if they put me out this crazy school. I'm going to fight her like I've never fought anybody in my life. And I did. She pushed me and I turned around and I just kept hitting her with my fist. I kept hitting her with my fist. I kept hitting her with my fist. And the teacher broke us up. And she called my mom and said that I was being really disruptive in the class. And she said, as nice as I've been, I've become the bully. Really? Because I defended myself. But what she was referring to is when I would walk in the class, I would look at her and go, do something, say something. And the little girl would go. And I had no trouble with her anymore, and I had no more trouble with anybody else at that school. And I had trouble as I got older. It was always my hair. It was always my hair. And I noticed this young lady has a head full of hair. I don't know what's up with sisters and little girls, but they're the most jealous, insensitive, nasty acting women, young girls I have ever seen in my life. And I don't understand it. I don't understand where that comes from. And I don't understand why mothers don't create beauty in their children at early ages, no matter how they look. Because if you don't, you probably got the ones that you're probably raising the ones that are the actual bullies. And they may have gotten it from their mamas. I don't know. All I know is to circumvent that, we should do a better job of making all of our children feel beautiful on the inside and the outside, even if we know they're not that cute, because they may be the ones actually pushing these babies, these young people, to their death, to their demise, because of their own shortcomings, their own insecurities. And on the flip side of that those that are raising these beautiful people who are smart on the inside and beautiful on the outside too, to a lot of people, that's a perfect package. And then don't let the mom and daddy pick them up in a nice car and they got nice clothes and they got nice shoes, and the one that's bullying has none of that going on for themselves. So you got to teach that child how to be tough. You got to teach that child how to share things with you, how to talk to you, how to tell you what's going on in school, tell you if somebody is bothering them. I ask my children day in, day out, how was school today? And I also ask them, did somebody threaten you? Did somebody say, if you tell if you tell on me, I'm gonna kill your mom and daddy? I even had conversations with them about that, and I let them know that those people who do that are lying. You will not lose your mama and daddy for telling on somebody who has harmed you or somebody who have touched you inappropriately. You have to have those type of conversations with your children today, not tomorrow when it's too late. You got to let them know that you're in their corner and you will never think ill of them because they're bringing you some bad news, or you will never think that they're a coward because they're afraid to go to school because somebody took their lunch money, because somebody pulled their hair, or somebody kicked them, or somebody spit at them. You got to ask these questions and you got to find out this information. You got to know what is going on with your child. We don't want any more children jumping off a roof because they want to die because they've been hurt. They've been hurt so much at school that they don't have another recourse but to take their lives. And many of these children never tell their mothers and fathers what is going on at the school. We have to ask, we have to be involved. We have to have that conversation with our children to let them know it is okay to tell us anything. It is okay. Those boys who sexually assaulted this young girl, shame on you. Shame on you. What kind of home life do you have that you would hurt a little girl like this? This shows where you're going in your future. If you're doing these kinds of things now in the 8th grade and the 9th grade, we already know where you're headed. And you should ask for forgiveness, and you should do everything in your power to talk about bullying, so that you can reform yourself and you can make sure it won't happen to anybody else. You all have a responsibility to rectify what you all have done. And parents, We have to do a better job with our babies. We have to let them know up front that hurting people is not the answer. How would you like it if somebody did that to you? Golden rule should be plastered on everybody's refrigerator so these kids can see it every time they go get some cereal. They need to know they should be treating people the way that they want to be treated. If we instilled that in our kids yesterday, they will be better kids tomorrow. We all have to instill that in our children. We don't want to lose any more children to somebody bullying them. Enough is enough. And we've gotten so complacent with all the bad things that are happening. But when you think about it, when we were growing up in the 60s and 70s, do you remember somebody being bullied to death? Yeah, our lunch money was taken. But to be bullied to death, that means they're just pushing and pushing. Come on. Come on. Well, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I just wanted to talk about this because it has really got me uptight because these parents have lost their daughter, 9th grade, no graduation. She's gone. She took her life because for the last 5 months, they've been on her. And then boys sexually assaulted her the day she took her life. That little girl had a plan to end it that day. I'm tired. I am done. And she did it on top of her apartment complex. Enough is enough. Talk to your kids. And shame on you, parents, for having children that could do this to a child. Shame on you. Stop working so hard. Or stop being out in the street so much. Stop chasing that dude. Get in your children's face and find out what's going on. Because these are your kids. These are our kids that have bullied somebody to death. These are our children that have done this. Shame on us. Shame on us for not knowing our children enough to know they're harming other kids. Shame on us. Shame on us. Do your homework. Do your homework. Instill in your children the golden rule. Punish them when you find out they're hurting other kids. Punish them severely. Take everything away. It's not cute for your child to be picking on somebody else's child. It's not cute for anybody to bring harm on another child. We got to stop. These parents aren't going to see their child at a prom, at a graduation, through college, her first car, her first job. She's gone because of your kid. Bullying, harming, hurting to death. We got to do better. Let's stop the bullying. It starts with parents. It starts with upbringing. It starts with a better home. It starts with discipline. Why is it we don't discipline our children anymore? I'm not saying beat them down. I'm saying teach them to be good citizens. Teach them to treat people with respect. Teach them to be respectful to others. Teach them to protect one another. Teach them to love one another. Teach them to care for one another. Don't teach them to hate. Don't teach them to hurt. Don't teach them to bring pain on somebody else. Don't let them think that that's okay. It's not okay. This little girl committed suicide, and she's not going to come back. And somebody's kids led her to her death. Somebody's kids led this beautiful little girl to her death. This beautiful, beautiful little girl to her death. Shame on us. Shame on us as parents. We have to do a better job. I'm Tanya Barbie. I'm still a rose in spite of it all. I hope to see you again soon. Follow me on WVGR Online Radio as a radio host. I'm also doing podcasts, Barbie's Real Talk, my books, The Little Girl Inside, and I Am Still a Rose in Spite of It All. I like to encourage women, particularly women, to never give up. We go through all kinds of hardship, but we're not supposed to give up. Because the moment we give up, we lose the opportunity to get what God has intended for us to have in our lives. And sometimes, remember Job in the Bible, he lost everything and he didn't give up. He still had faith. He still had faith in God. We can't give up. We always have to have faith. And no matter what we go through, we lose a husband, or husband walks out on us, or we go through a crisis, we go through a divorce, we go through breast cancer, we go through domestic violence, all of those thorns of life. Don't give up. Don't give up. Know that if you hang tough and keep being positive in spite of all your surroundings and all the negativity that's going on, you will see the light at the end of the tunnel at some point. Maybe not tomorrow, but it's coming. It's coming. Again, no more bullying. No more bullying. We have to do what we have to do to get our children in check, to punish them severely for hurting another child. Don't ever take that lightly. Share with them kids being led to death. Because at some point, I bet you the law is going to make that they're going to be charged for manslaughter and a whole lot of things, because there has to be some laws that are put into place for little kids. I don't care if they're in elementary school. If 5 elementary schools led a person to kill themselves, they need to be held accountable. I don't care if they're 12. I don't care if they're 10. They need to be held accountable. Because what do you think is going to happen when they're 18 and 19? It's just going to get worse. So try to rectify that as they're younger, because I don't know what's going on, but we got a whole lot of bad seeds out there now. I don't know if you saw the movie, The Bad Seed. It's a whole bunch of them out there. We got to protect our children. And those that are the bad seed, parents, you know your child is a bad seed. Get them some therapy, get them some help, make sure they're disciplined, and you keep an eye on them so that they will stop pushing people to their death the way that they're doing. Maybe you are a bully too as an adult, but leading somebody to death, that's the worst. That's the worst. Until next time, thank you for joining tonight. If you feel that this talk about bullying will help somebody, I'd appreciate it if you share and comment. And I thank you for joining tonight. I hope to see you next week. And listen to me on Barbie's Real Talk on podcasts. And I have an awesome, if you're in the DMV area, on September the 21st, we're going to have our first gathering of women called Be the Rose, Not the Thorn. We're going to celebrate life. We're going to celebrate each other. We're going to celebrate being that beautiful flower that God has intended for us to be. I love you. Thank you. I'll see you next time. We have to stop the bullying. Please stop the bullying. Bye now.